Hello everybody, how are we all doing? I'm hoping we're doing very well. I love that I've got the wrong camera on. And this camera, like, exaggerates light spots, so I was just like, I've got dust on my gun that I hadn't even noticed when I was doing the original setup things. And that is far louder than I intended that to be. So we will silence the music. How are we all doing? I'm hoping we're very, very well. We are coming off the back of a very, very nice cheeky little 4-3 win for Leeds United. Sorry about the hair, it's a little bit manic. I had a shower like half an hour ago because I discovered that I need to squeeze in this stream, where initially it was going to be a sort of standard one, I guess. It was initially going to be a let's have a nice long chat, and then it was like, oh, can we have a meeting about something fairly big and significant? I guess we can. I suppose so. But yeah, let's have a little bit of a chat about the Swansea City match, because there's been a hell of a lot of conversation going on around it immediately afterwards, which has made me a little bit full of confusion and thought and things like that. So first I'm going to just get my initial perspective out, and then we'll have a little bit of a wider natter about it. So I'm trying to bring the game up on SofaScore at the minute, just so I've got all the numbers in front of me so I can keep track of everything. But the general story of the match was we went behind, and Sky brought up a statistic that that Swansea City, when they go behind in a game, go ahead in a game of football, do not lose. They just don't. That doesn't happen. But in yesterday's case, they went ahead and they did lose, which I think is the first thing that we need to consider. Because as Leeds fans, we have this very weird thing that we do, where we'll approach it and just sort of go, okay, why didn't we do better? Where were all the mistakes that we made? Whereas I think something that we don't do enough of is look at things as a matter of perspective, as a matter of, thank you, Steam. For some reason, despite me stopping that download 3 days ago, it's just installed Rocket League. But we always go, okay, we've made a mistake here, which, to be fair, we did make mistakes for the goals. That's understandable. But we never look wider. We never think, okay, so this game of football, it's got two teams involved. There's us and what we're doing, and then there's Swansea and whatever they're doing. And too much of the time, it feels like we look to apportion blame to us rather than looking at good things from them, which is just a general thing. This isn't specifically about yesterday, because we did concede 3 goals and there were 3 mistakes that led to them. It was primarily the mistake for the first goal is, one, we're not very good at defending set pieces, which needs to be improved. But that was also a big error from the referee, right? That was coming in for a challenge, winning the ball very clearly. The ball pisses off in another direction. The ref's like, hang on. Think that's a free kick. Never a free kick. Never a foul. But it's fine. We got past it. Second one, argument for Meslier having made a mistake after we lose the ball in midfield, but the deflection is nasty, and as someone that has goal kept, you can see from his sort of movement, he's positioned himself for the first shot and where the shot's initially going, which he's in the good spot for. And I think he set himself a little bit too early, and then the ball gets out of reach, and it's just beyond the palm of his dive. Admittedly, not brilliant positioning. He set himself a little bit too early. He's made a mistake there, but that's going to happen. Third goal, which was the third goal? Oh, third goal. Yeah. Strauch and Rodon just completely lose someone, and they're just like a couple of yards from him, both of them. And it's like, I don't know how neither of you guys were like, oh, there's a footballer here, let's challenge him. But they didn't. So I would pretty much call that one a problem. But what we don't seem to do is look at how, for that third goal, the cross that came in was impeccable, and it's a really nice finish. And we don't look at how, for goal number 1, that delivery ball is damn good. So I think we just, as a first initial mention, we've been way too good at not liking ourselves, whereas we should, on a wider scale of things, look at, okay, so what was there that the other side did well, and how do we prevent that before it happens, rather than our responses to what they do, if that makes sense. I don't know. Basically, be more preventative, which is what we've done all season long. Weren't able to yesterday. Thank you, Hiccups. That was really nice of you. Weren't able to yesterday, but it's generally fine. Michael's comment. Defensively, both Swansea and Leeds were poor, unlike Leeds. It was very un-us, yeah. We conceded a hell of a lot of XG in that match. I'm going to have to find the specific number. Thanks, SofaScore, for being not very useful quite a lot of the time. Where are we? Yeah, we conceded 1.57 goals in that match, which is a lot, which is more than we tend to do. I mean, compared to most average games of football, it's basically average, but compared to what we've done for the rest of the season, it is not good. So in that match, for a little bit of context, we conceded the same XG as we did against Sunderland, which is more than we conceded in our 6 most recent matches before that combined. So it's very on us. It's a very we weren't on form yesterday kind of thing, which is fine. And I'm also fine with the fact that we didn't have the majority of possession, because it was one of those matches that I said ahead of time, if we allow them to have the ball, we might be okay because it lets the transitional stuff happen. And lo and behold, their fullbacks bomb on and they leave huge gaps for the likes of a Dan James. And I would like to say, by the way, I'm feeling especially smug right now, because in my preview with Joe over on his channel, I would say go and watch it, but there's no point watching a preview after a game of football. Go and watch Joe in general. His stuff's great. And I hear that there's going to be some spooky stuff happening from the 4th of December. But I said in advance that Dan James is going to be really up for it. And in my opinion, and this isn't the opinion of what things like SofaScore are saying, because to be fair, Manor Solomon got 2 assists. Can't really be too mad at that. But I feel like Dan James has to be man of the match there, right? He was given 2 assists, which completely fair, deserved them. Got the assist for Nonto cleanly, got the assist for the first goal cleanly as well. He should have got the assist on the own goal, but it turns out you don't get assists for own goals, which feels unfair. But I felt fine about that match. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't feel fine. I felt petrified for the vast majority of it. But a lot of people have been asking for more exciting stuff. A lot of people have been asking for more chance creation. A lot of people have been asking for just more action. And then people got more action, and then people were mad at more action. And that makes me confused. On this one, thinking that Piru would have been up for it, I think he was up for it, right? The one that was an own goal, Piru was tapping in a moment later. That is why they had to try and do something with the ball before it got all the way through to him. And I think if he's coming out of that match with 2 goals for Solomon, 1 goal for Nonto, 1 goal for Piru, we're saying that it was fine. I think Piru was fine enough. I'd say that I don't know who I'd want to start instead, but I do. But people tend to do a little bit of piss-taking when you're saying that. Because agendas is the nice way of doing it. Taking over Jer's channel whilst he's away, will he be doing daily news? I will, yes. I'll be doing them as close to his format as I feasibly can. I will be trying to get them recorded and sent over to Jer by about 11 our time, and they should be up as soon as possible, around noon, a little bit after noon-ish. But that's the idea. Whether or not the idea works out as we're hoping, we'll have to find out, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it could be very, very fun. James won the match for me, just edging out Tanaka. Tanaka's been brilliant. I don't understand how Tanaka is not playing at a higher level, to be completely honest with you. He's an impeccable footballer. And I'm not sure how a Premier League club didn't find him beforehand. It can be pouring 2-0 when I'm too old for games like yesterday. Yeah, I kind of feel where you're coming from on that one, because it was a little bit bonkers, which made me very, very fun. But then again, I imagine those of an older age might go, no, let's be calm, let's be chill, let's just do the boring stuff again, which I absolutely don't mind. A lot of people, by the way, will point out that we created a hell of a lot of opportunities in yesterday's matches, and we finished them. I would like to make the note that in terms of XG and stuff like that, we created less than we did against Cardiff. Now, looking back in time to the Cardiff match, does anyone remember how we were an incredibly boring side in that game where we created nothing and we didn't look convincing despite being in control of the match? We created more in that one, which is what tells me that our issue right now isn't with anything relating to the manager or anything like that. There's things that people want to blame. It's the finishing. It's the finishing the chances. For example, at the end of that match, Mateo Joseph absolutely should have done better. It was screaming to be put in the back of the net, and he didn't manage it. There was the other chance as well. From a corner, Dan James running in at the back post. 2.5, 3 yards out. Hits the ball. Goes up. Directly up. We could have scored 5 or 6 yesterday. And we still scored 4. And I'm still very, very happy with scoring 4. Don't get me wrong. But it's more a point of we should be finishing off chances more than we are. And if we start doing that, then it's going to feel very, very good. Swansea were Leeds light in terms of how they play possession-based football, but lacking the quality that Leeds have. You can understand why they only tend to lose games by a low-scoring margin. Yeah. In terms of defensive stuff, they were questionable, but I think that's because of the way that we got them to play. We got them to play in a way that they sort of needed to commit men to the attack, because in terms of the midfield, we're going to outdo them, because we've got Autanaka, we've got Joe Rothwell, and Aronson's running is unmatched in this league. In terms of out wide, well, we've got Sam Byram at left back who can do the defensive stuff really well, so they're going to need to try and force an overload, which means winger, which means fullback, which means space. And having that space is why I think we did so well. Because you got a lot of James in the dangerous positions, you got a lot of Solomon in the dangerous positions, hence scoring twice. So I think, yeah, teams that play against us that like having possession, as we saw last season, will struggle. Because we can do the transitional stuff. And our strongest part of our team at the minute, and the defense is really, really good, don't get me wrong. The strongest part of our team at the minute is how that front four, it doesn't matter what configuration of the front four because we've got such a deep squad, but it's how that front four creates chances. Incredibly effectively, incredibly consistently. And that's why I'm looking at Luton now. And I'm thinking, this is going to be a very weird match. Because the amount of possession they tend to have varies depending on who they're against. So their first match of the season, 58% against Burnley. That's a bit weird. Why have you tried to dominate possession there? Then Portsmouth, where they had less possession. Then it's more, less, less, more. They can't decide whether they're a possession team or an out-of-possession team, which is why I'm very confused. Very confused. On this one, just to quickly note, one goalkeeper yesterday saved shots. One. And it wasn't Swansea's. And looking through them, you've got the first goal, which I'm going to use not XG, because XG is a different statistic to this. I'm going to use XGOT. Goals on target. So it's how likely a shot is to go in after the shot has been taken. First shot has an XGOT of 0.96. Only 4% of the time is a goalkeeper stopping that shot. Because it is right in the side netting. It's from a set piece. Not very easy to deal with. Third goal, 0.89 GOT. 11% of the time a goalkeeper is going to stop that. That's not an easy chance to stop because it's 6 yards out. Both of your centre-backs have lost him, and you're expecting at least some protection there. It is a niche stat. in some cases. It's a niche stat that is specifically used to measure goalkeeping performance in a match. Because if you use XG, then you're not sort of accounting for the quality of the shot itself. So you can get, think of an example. Bamford against Peterborough last season, where he scored the take it down on his chest, turn volley first time. Beautiful. The XG on that would have been 0.02 or something stupid like that. It would have been ridiculously low because you don't tend to score goals like that. The XGOT of it would have been high in the 0.9s because it was a great shot that I think went in off the bar or something. No goalkeepers getting there. It's a really specific stat, but it's really specifically good for goalkeepers. This is why I think people have been really harsh on the second goal. Because again, we've got the deflection. Yes, I'm agreeing, he set himself far too early. Shouldn't have done that. But he's still, any goalkeeper statistically is more likely to have not saved that chance than to have saved it. And I think when you're looking at the goals that we conceded yesterday, first goal is, I would say it's a silly foul, but it's not. It's not a free kick. But it's just centre-back's losing a man, so he's got an absolute tap-in. Third goal, absolute tap-in. Second goal, pretty fucking nasty deflection. Yes, his positioning isn't great. He should have been a little bit more to the right and he might have been able to save that. But again, average keeper does not save that statistically. And I'm agreeing. Numbers across this season and last are below average. They're not where we want them to be. But for everyone to be looking at that match and saying that without a doubt, with no doubt at all, that the big problem that is killing us is Meslier is a bit nuts. Because one of those goals was his fault yesterday. One. And we scored 4. Michael, that's the first time we played the High Line this season. I don't know what I was reading there. I think yesterday's match would have suited Joseph rather than Peru, given that Swansea play with the High Line as Joseph runs the channels and is more flexible. Maybe, yeah. But at the same time, I don't know if I would have... I don't know if I would have dropped someone, is the main point. For context, for our non-football understanders, a high line is where your defence starts really high up. What we tend to play against is a low block, where whenever we have the ball, other teams will rush backwards and just sit on the edge of their defensive area, because that's really hard to break down. Whereas a high line means that, A, other teams are more likely to be offside more often, which we were really clever with, and really clever with making sure that we weren't offside so often. But it means that if you win the ball, you're better poised to strike at other teams, which is how we tend to play. Where it was on the left leg for the third two. Was it? Hold on, I'm going to have to watch the third goal back. I can't show you guys the third goal because that is how I get copyright stricken. But let's have a look. Swansea versus Leeds highlights. Let's take a look. I might be able to take it from a screenshot. Okay, cool. So, present, share screen, bosh, bish, bash, and boom. Cool. Share. I'm muted, and I'm only going to play a moment or two, so it shouldn't kill me. But cross comes in. Mellier's positioning is fine. He's in a good spot to try and claim the cross if it comes to him. From this position, you got Rodon here, who is seemingly unaware of the guy he's meant to be marking. Strauch can see the guy that Rodon is meant to be marking. Maybe he's assuming that the number 4 is on him, but given this context, he should be closer to the number 9. Ball comes in. Strauch realizes a little too late to try and get close. Rodon also realizes too late and tries to respond. Mellier's positioning here is basically okay. I don't think if you want to blame someone for the third goal, it's necessarily fair to blame Meslier when, I mean, look at this. He's had to set himself fairly late because 90% of the time, that's what you've got centre-backs for. That chance doesn't happen. The third one is on the centre-backs, I think. Joe's favourite's on at 3:30, the press. Oh, no, I've got a meeting from 3 till 4. Oh, man, then I get to rile people up in the presser chat. Damn it. Also, a quick note to people who might be in the chat for the press conference. Whenever anyone is doing the dumb shit, like saying, why is he being so wordy? The questions are bad. What else do they say? He's not answering the questions. He is. They had 4 men on the ball to that 2 sets of cover from midfield problem. What? Looking at the still right now, I've still got it up on my other screen. We've got 4 players back and they've got 3 forward. That's okay. That's not an issue. Yeah, the cross for the third is ridiculously good, and Mellier's not making a save there. To be clear. Yeah, on the second one, he's expecting the first shot, and the ball comes across, and problem. No, they don't. That's the thing. They don't. They're just not stupid. Because if you know that if you're asking a transfer question, sod it. If you know that someone is going to ask a question on transfers, and he's not going to give an answer because you know he's not going to talk about people that aren't contracted at Leeds because he has told you this word for word in the past, then they're not going to ask the question because they are wasting their own time. And at the same time, you're not going to ask the question of, do you think your player should be sold immediately? The answer is going to be no, because that's disrespectful as fuck, man. And how are you going to keep that relationship between you and the football club as a professional journalist? You're not. Because you're asking the questions that A, won't get answered, and B, are disrespectful to club employees, so everyone's going to look at you a little bit more negatively in that situation, and you might not get called for questions the next time around. Trust me, the journalists know what they are doing. No, but this is the thing. People have asked that question. They've asked it in the form of, why are we not making changes sooner? And he's explained it. But the issue is, and what a lot of people don't seem to get, is that press conferences are primarily for the press. They are for journalists. They are for people like content creators who will further disseminate that information in the form of content. What people are effectively doing is drinking water directly out of a river and asking why it tastes bad. When you wait a few minutes, even go on Joe's stream after the fact, it's gone through a nice little processing plant. And it's had all the sort of excess stuff removed. So the stuff that people are saying, he talks too much. Yeah, press conferences have always been like this, to be clear to you. And it's not even a case of, why does my water taste like water? It's a case of, if I drink directly out of the river air, I'm going to say, this water tastes different to usual. Because normally, you've waited for it to go through the processing plant of YouTubers and newspapers and TV journalists and internet journalists, and you've gotten it from that point. Have some patience if you're really that mad at press conferences. Just don't watch them and wait about half an hour, and then you'll get live streams on it. You will get news reports on it. You'll get news articles on it. You'll get tweets on it. All sorts. It'd be great. Your water will taste like water if you drink it when you normally drink the water, is the way that I'd put that. This one seems to have answered itself. I want to know why we completely stopped playing after going 3-2 up. And according to Richard Griffiths, he mentioned that straight after the match and said the players switched off and they looked asleep. I can't quite remember. I think it was a case of us also not wanting to overstretch too much, you know? if that makes sense. I don't know. Either way, I've got a meeting in 5 minutes, so I'm going to take us over to one of our favourite places. In the meantime, I'm going to drag us over to Questions Corner, and I'm also going to pull up one of my favourite tickers. If you haven't yet, please like the stream. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're watching after the fact, pop in a comment. That's always really appreciated. It helps the channel out. And you could even be a channel member. 99p a month. You get loads of perks and things, including you could be in a future episode of Balls Knowledge. You get videos early, all sorts. And it helps the channel to plod along, because non-transfer season is really bad for the channel revenue. And the way that I try and treat this is as a second job in addition to my other job. So it feels like when you stop being in the transfer window, you go from, cool, I've got transfer window wage, to, oh, that's gone down by 75%. So that really helps the channel to keep sort of ticking along. When will I do a watch along? I may have explained this one in the past. So when I'm watching a game of football, I don't do what a lot of people that do watch-alongs do, and do the big exuberant reactions to things and the, oh my God, and all that stuff, because that's not me. Because as you might have guessed by watching my stuff, I like to be sort of analytical and thinky and stuff like that. So when a big exciting match happens, like happened yesterday, sure, you're going to get all the reactions that you want. But when it comes to a standard match that's a 2-0, I'm going to be watching things like the passing patterns and defensive shape and stuff like that, whereas everyone else is just like, it's so boring. And I don't... And also the fact that it feels like you're performing. And that makes me feel kind of sad. Like, I watch football to enjoy. And if I feel like even the watching the football, in addition to doing the streams and videos afterwards, feels like work, it's going to make it significantly tougher, I think. Success is found at the other side of your comfort zone, in the discomfort zone. Yes, but at the same time, looking at other people that do watch-alongs, you see Joe with like 1,500, 2,000 people, and the next watch-along down is on like 80. So it feels like, yes, it's outside the comfort zone, but what else is outside the comfort zone is taking a hammer and a nail and ramming it into my skull. You're not necessarily going to get progress by being uncomfortable, you know? Sometimes you just get back pain. Will we be top at Christmas? I don't know. I think so, is how I'm going to put that, because I know that Sheffield United and Sunderland have to play each other very, very, very soon, which makes me happy and comfy. But who knows? And I'm going to return us to Questions Corner for one more question before I finish, ideally relatively sharpish, because I've got a meeting now in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? I do, but I've already in the past ventured into that sort of discomfort zone and found that A, I really don't enjoy it, and B, someone is already doing it better than I could do it, and C, if I were to do it, it wouldn't help with progressing still. It's basically all the everything. It wouldn't work for me, at the very least. Anyway, you'll have like 15 seconds to whack a question in, otherwise I'm going to have to go. Because I've just got a cheeky mention in Microsoft Teams. We love a bit of Microsoft Teams. But anyway, with that, I'm going to bring the stream to a close. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on the stream. That's always really appreciated and helps it get pushed out a little bit further. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's, again, always fantastic. Become a channel member if you're not. According to present channel members, is a great vibe, so do so. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Toodaloo.